their own offensive firepower if they just scored 2 points to put themselves back in the lead.
19-17 Quakes. You see Brooks Sunderman out, the lead blocker, and now breaking free for the California Quakes, wearing the jammer helmet. This is Stacy Blitz very quickly being pursued by Karen Magnuson. This one should get very physical, Hawk.
Well, I want to make one point about Brooks Thunderman, number 33 for the Quakes. She does a great job, and it's important against the enforcers because she somewhat offsets the size of Janet Abraham.
You see Karen Magnuson tried to go for a headlock on Blitz. Blitz just a little too strong and fast. Magnuson couldn't do it. But now you see what Karen Magnuson will try and dig out of her bag of tricks. Now Brooks Sunderman back, sends Janet Abraham right into the rail. Karen Magnuson saw her teammate go into the rail, grabbed the fellow jammer, grabbed for the California Quakes, Stacy Blitz. I forgot who it was, but a smart move. She might take a penalty, but she forbade Blitz from getting by the pack and passing Janet Abraham.
And almost covertly, Amy Craig picks up 3 points for California Quakes. But Stacy Blitz taking it to Karen Magnuson. We know she always has some fire, but one of the people that are not used to taking it from anybody is Karen Magnuson, and it's 22-17, California Quakes.
Certainly that last jam for the women in this game, barring overtime, is good news, bad news for the California Quakes. Amy Craig went by and picked up the 3 points. Referee Sean Torben called a 1-jam penalty on Stacy Blitz. He didn't see Magnuson pull her down. You see Rusty Montgomery serving the penalty. Didn't see Karen Magnuson pull down Stacy Blitz, but he did see Blitz retaliate with the Bulldog. Thus, the Quakes start 1 jam short. And now we're coming up 22-17. 6.5 minutes to go in the game. Once again for the enforcers, it falls to the men. And you see Mark D'Amato right now doing a great job of preventing both. Now he's going for that double Texas Bulldog. Oh, a double King Kong. A double King Kong from Washington and Brian Gamble. The enforcers serving notice to the Quakes. We are back, Jack.
Oh, the New York Enforcer faithful, they love this style of play out of Mark D'Amato and the boys, as Brian Gamble and Tim Washington join Mark D'Amato in a little bit of carnage on the track. But Ken, these guys are losing, and the California Quakes just scored points and extended the lead. If these guys don't start getting around to scoring some points on their own, then the New York Enforcer team are going to lose this game. The physical play is great, but not if you lose.
Well, I talk about taking one for the team. Eric Slopey and Gary Lockamy each picked up 1 point apiece as they passed D'Amato, but taking that double King Kong, they certainly paid for it. Now, if you're wondering why there was no penalties, because both Brian Gamble and Tim Washington were planted. They were not skating back towards the pack. Thus, very physical, but very legal. And talk about very physical. Flying into the track for the California Quakes is Rick Murray. In fact, Murray a late addition for the injured Mark James. And suddenly the New York Enforcers showing very physical play. Sean Atkinson now battling Rocky Bowman for the New York Enforcers. Here's D'Amato and Atkinson. Atkinson then tried to pass away. D'Amato tried to hand him off rather to Big Tim Washington. Atkinson goes down courtesy of Washington. 1 point for the New York Enforcers.
Well, and I still can't understand why these New York Enforcers seem so pleased with themselves. Again, this kind of physical play is great for the crowd, but 1 point is not enough, and these guys are still in danger of letting this game slip away from them if they can't score, Ken.
24-18 California Quakes. And for those of you that are wondering why no penalty was called on Mark D'Amato, very heads-up play by the enforcer captain. He released that headlock just prior to the referee whistling him. Smart play, no penalty. Now, Dan Cavani out for the New York Enforcers, being trailed and caught up very quickly as Gary Lockamy out of Daytona Beach at 5'11", 175. Cavani goes in and over the railing.
Well, and Gary Lockamy for the Quakes and Rocky Bowman, number 21 for the Enforcers, are being pressed into duty today, Ken, and they're actually having to play a big part, which was unexpected going into today.
And Tim Washington laying back to greet Lockamy as he comes up. Washington, that elbow sends Lockamy to the rail. Lockamy a little bit hawkish. You talked about like Blaze Leon keeps the low center of balance. Oh, baby! Retribution, retaliation. Sean Atkinson, the Superman, absolutely levels Big Tim Washington as Lockamy picks up 1 point for the Quakes.
And Sean Atkinson has the wonderful satisfaction of has not only extended the lead, but lowering a boom on somebody here in the World Skating League, that of Tim Washington. We'll be back right after this.
It's the California Quakes 25, the New York Enforcers 18, and this is generally when the Enforcers always seem to find a way to win. Will it happen again? We'll find out. And it is gut check time for the New York Enforcers. Under 3 minutes to play, trailing by 7, but like their style or not, they always seem to find a way to win. We'll find out if it's going to hold true once again. John Morrissey out and calling up Dan Gavani as the rest of the Enforcers doing a great job of keeping the Quake Jammers bottled up. They are not even out of the pack yet as Morrissey and Gavani close around. What great blocking by Washington, D'Amato, and Gamble. None of the Quake Jammers are even out. Now Atkinson drops back, levels Morrissey, the big elbow to Gavani. Atkinson trying, they've already caught up, 20 seconds left. A great opportunity for New York if they can get by Sean Atkinson and the Ack Attack. Gavani goes high, Morrissey goes low. Now they try and flip it. And there you see Mark D'Amato absolutely level Sean Atkinson. And here come Gavani and Morrissey. They go right by one of the blockers. Now a jammer for the Quakes. Remember, that's number 11, Rick Uray. He was not out as a jammer. Thus, the points go on the board. 6 big points for the New York Enforcers, and Hawks suddenly, they're only down by 1.
Well, you saw some disgust in the face of Sean Atkinson. I'm about as surprised as he is as Mark D'Amato's lowering the boom. But how many times do we say it that we question the tactics of Mark D'Amato, but he and these New York Enforcers always have a way of getting it done.
1 minute to go, 25-24 Quakes. Look at this strategy. We've never seen Tim Washington out as a jammer.
His helmet doesn't even fit. They don't even have a helmet to fit Tim Washington. I don't believe it. The man of 290 is out on a jam.
Oh my goodness, Eric Slope tried to butt block him, had no effect. Here comes Gary Lockamy. Once again, Mike D'Amato and the Enforcers dig down in their bag of tricks. Look at Lockamy, no effect.